Okay, good afternoon all. Friday, the 23rd of February. We're literally a week away from March. Unbelievable. It's amazing how quick this year is going already. So, what have we got this morning? This market just does not want to come down, does it? It's going up and it's going up and it's going up. It's just unreal. I mean, we had a massive push up yesterday. Well, I say massive. Let's have a look. I mean, where are we? I mean, we're up 100 points from yesterday. It's just unbelievable. I have some of my pension in the S&P 500. So it's done it the world of good. It's done really well in the last few months. So it just doesn't want to slow down, does it? Robin, how you doing, buddy? Jay, how are you? Speedy, how you doing, pal? So, as you can see, I acquired 2 new PAs. I did some trading later on those 2 evaluations. Fortunately, yeah, it's cool but bloody scary, mate. I'm just going to really have to take my time but we had a good move yesterday, so I jumped in here. Every time we had a decent signal bar, I jumped in. When we had that push up, I just jumped in. I tend to trade a little bit carelessly, I think, but it worked. And I did them one at a time as well. So I jumped in here, and it just kept on going, didn't it? So fortunately, I got everything I needed out of that move. So up to 5. So I'm just going to continue on 5 now for a while. I just got 3 today. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Today is the end of the 1 day to pass. Is that correct? No. You can... Sorry, my mistake. Yes, it is. It finishes on Sunday. You'll still get the 90% off, but yeah, you won't get the... So yeah, if you pass it today, then you'll get an email. I'm assuming you get them tomorrow over the weekend. But yeah, you'll still get the 90% up until Sunday. Sunday, I think it's 11:50. I've got it at 11:59 Eastern time. Pretty sure it is. So you'll still get the discount, but not the 1 day to pass. So you got to do that today if you want to. But I mean, the discount's still good, isn't it? But so I'll tell you what I have heard as well. I've heard a few people moaning that they couldn't sign up to accounts, that they were waiting for emails for accounts. So I think they apologise and been patient. Now, last time something like that happened, they extended it. So whether they will or not, I don't know. But sometimes if there is a bit of an issue with it, you know, I'm assuming, obviously, because it's the first 90% they've had for maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 months, a lot of people will be buying them. And obviously that sort of clogs up their system a little bit. So the last time something that happened, they did extend it. So we can only hope. But you'll still get the 90% off up until Sunday, ready for Monday. So what are we going to do here? Are we going to come back? I've put that there. Reason being is because we've hit the bottom a few times there and there. And I just naturally did it at the top there, which kind of fits, doesn't it? So whether this is just a little bit of sideways before we go back, and if we do have a break, obviously it'd be interesting to see what it does there, whether it comes back in or whether it continues or not. I've got no idea, really. Sometimes when you think a market can't go any higher, it just seems to keep going. I mean, I don't know what causes people just to continue to buy there like that when we're so far from the EMA. As soon as we come back, we don't even get to the EMA, and off we go again, and then again some more. It just seemed to, you know, I was buying it, and I was trading 10 contracts and just trying to get out for a few ticks, make $300 or $400, but it just kept going. So, you know, if you got in anywhere here, I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't trade a PA like that because it's a bit careless without a setup, really. You know, we need to follow our strategy, but obviously with a $15 $15 evaluation, you don't mind taking a few extra risks. And it just happened to work for me. But it is amazing how it just keeps on going. I mean, if you knew that was going to happen, oof, my good grief. Jay, as an affiliate for Apex, do you get more money on a It doesn't really make much difference, to be honest with you, because you get a bit, when it's 71% off, people buy less of them, but you get a little bit more. So it swings and roundabouts, really. You do make a bit more money on the when you get the 90% off. Or do you? Maybe you don't, actually. It doesn't make a lot of difference, shall I say. You just get more of them, but it's cheaper. But to be honest with you, it's nice to get that bit of extra. It does help, but I'd rather tell you guys, take your time and try not to blow as many and save your money. You know, I know some people, I you know, nothing against the Panda guy, but I know sometimes he tries everything he can to buy, to get people to buy extra and top up. I say, if you're still failing them, personally, I would stick to one. If you're getting somewhere and managing to pass them, I understand the desire to get more. But if you're still new, I really wouldn't be buying multiple ones. Get yourself one, maybe two. Anytime, it's all right, Jay. One, maybe two. And take, you know, try to throw away your money, because the reason I'm saying that is because I have. And a lot more than I think I needed to. So I'd rather you guys not have extra ones and save your money. You know, the trouble is, the more you throw away, sometimes the worse it is, because you end up beating yourself up and you're just doing it again. You know what I mean? By the way, is this an extension? Yesterday, I actually drew that a while ago, and it looks like we've had a break. If it is, I went from here. And if we have, we've had a break of it. So it's hard to say. I tried it here, but then it doesn't work. It misses this lot. So it's hard to say. The trouble is, if you don't get it right, it can mess up. So we've only really touched it once, really. I mean, if you go from there and then here, so it probably is in some form. Which obviously means, you know, trading at the top. Certainly longs wouldn't be the best idea, but I wouldn't anyway, just because, you know, we've had a strong push up. But I mean, look at that. It just doesn't seem to want to be stopping, does it? And we're making, I can go now. Where's my delete button? Seem to be making new highs. I can't get rid of that. That's all right. We seem to be making new highs every day. I mean, we're on a new high, and I just keep moving that up. But it's fitting nice in that channel. Trouble is, the bigger these channels, the less you want to go long, because you just have this feeling that as soon as I jump in, it's going to come down. Market has been open a few minutes, well, 4 minutes. Trouble is, do you go long there, or is this when we get a break? You just don't know. I was looking at it yesterday, and I was trying to hold on for a few extra ticks, and it just kept going. I was getting out, and it just kept going and going, and, you know. Oh, I know what I meant to do last night. Download that bit of software, that sync software. I'll do it later, I think. So, I mean, if you look at this, every time we get sort of a decent bar at the EMA or the trend channel, it just keeps on going. And there's one there, but guarantee the second I jump in that, it'll come down and stop me out. We're getting a bit of sideways now anyway, so... the bars, you know, we're getting a decent swift move, then a little bit of a pullback, and then another move. So trouble is, the more we do this, the more nervous I get about taking a trade. There is a higher low there, but Christ, do you want to take that into there? I mean, it may continue up here, but I just can't bring myself to take that. It is a higher low, but look, we've hit a new high. I don't think you can in all good conscience, really, could you? I'd trade an evaluation there, but we're getting a little bit of congestion. Let's see if it works. Well, quite a bit from the EMA, and the EMA has been relatively tight, and it's starting to drift away, which tells me we're losing a bit of momentum. Yeah, so if you took that there, you'd be shitting your pants now, wouldn't you? You'd need some fresh underwear. I'll be surprised if that doesn't. Yeah, I mean, so it is a higher low, but it is frustrating. You see all this, and when you see something that may be a setup, it triggers it and stops you out. So I've just given up trying now. I have. I mean, that's quite a tight, neat channel, isn't it? Unfortunately, there's nothing I can really see to get in there. In fact, I tell you, I haven't done. I don't know about your guys' charts. Is there anything you can see? We may have a couple of legs back here. Leg and a leg. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's all right. Panic then. I shouldn't do that. Just reloaded my historic to see if that looks any better. So, I don't think it does really, does it? So, maybe there's a leg and a leg. Depending on where you draw this from. We got a bit of sideways there, and we came back higher than this, so maybe there's a leg and a leg. If that's the case, I think we can still go higher, can't we? Yeah, it doesn't matter where you draw it. It could go a bit higher. 2 legs back, I wouldn't take that. 1, it's a bit congested. 2, it's too far from the EMA, and you may trigger it, make 3 attempts to go up, and then just drop. So that's a no-no. Also, on the NQ, it looks like there might be a trap there. There's a bearish bar there. Sorry, there's a bullish bar there which is triggered. So, I don't know, it's too congested here. So, for that reason, I like the idea I can just nip that in actually. So, I think that is just too much of a risky trade personally. I mean, it might work, it might not work, but there's nothing for me there. It's just too far from the EMA. Yeah, a little bit sideways there. Yeah, a key tree, you're right, mate, it is. It just keeps on going. I'm just assuming as it's going, people are adding to the positions. So we've made a couple of attempts now to push up. So yeah, there's no way I'd take that. It's way too far from the EMA. Maybe a couple of years ago, but I'll be surprised if that doesn't break below there. There is a possible second entry on the NQ, but it's just congested. So we are almost back to, we've just nicked the top of the mailed. Just, there we are there. There's nothing you can do here. I mean, we could do something like that and then push up, or we could just drop like a stone. That's just a bit of guesswork, really, isn't it? I am going to try and adjust my chart over the weekend and put some sort of, you know, like the Alpine guy does, like a bit of more of a structured something where I can get a bit of space on here for the NQ, because I know some of you guys trade the NQ as well. So I need my screen this side, but what I can do with one of those overlays is put the NQ from another screen into an area that's not on my chart, but you guys can see it, because I know some of you guys trade the NQ, so it gives you guys something to, if I'm talking about the NQ, you can sort of get what I'm talking about, and then sort of make, see what you think about it. It is good to share opinions, because I'm sure it helps you guys if I'm talking about what I'm seeing, but it helps me if you talk about what you're seeing as well. Is the Alpine legit? Seems like he's making some money. Yeah, I can't see how he's not, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. I can't see how he's not legit. I mean, he'd have to sort of, I don't know really, because he does take a few trades on. He doesn't show. I know people say, they're always suspicious about people who say they're making a lot of money, and you can't actually see them, taking their trades. Although he does take some trades, but just a couple at a time. So I'm not sure. I'll be surprised if he's not legit. He'd have to set all this up, wouldn't he? All the price and adjust it and all that, and it does. You can see the price moving as he's in set. So I don't know is the answer, but I'll be surprised if he's not legit. I certainly believe him, but I've been known to be a bit gullible at times, but I would have said so. It's just a damn shame he doesn't share his chart, really, isn't it? Because his strategy, sorry, because he just trades the open. When he says that, I'm assuming he means the official open. Okay, so we've got a big bearish bar there. Certainly not in the mood to take anything, but we've had a break from this and we've made a new high now. So I'd like to see maybe a couple of legs and then some more upwards, and then maybe a bigger channel, but I'm not taking anything at the moment. I'm not taking that. I'm not, whether I'd take a lower high, possibly. What I will say is there's a long triggered on the NQ. It is a second entry long. It'd be interesting to see whether that triggered and comes down. If it did come down, then maybe I'd look for a lower high, but it's holding at the moment, isn't it? So that channel has played out. So we've had a break. We've had 1-2 pushes. Oh, well, okay. So we've gone up mid and even more of a high there. So I wouldn't take that personally, not after that bearish bar, because you don't know whether it's going to trigger you and then come down and stop you out. So for me, that's not something I can take. Now, whether we do end up having something like that, that's always a possibility, but it's a bit too early just to do that. We're still a bit stuck here at the moment on the NQ. That has triggered that bullish bar, so you just don't know what that's going to do. It could rocket up or it could come tumbling down. It's unusual that, because usually what I find is the NQ starts pushing before the ES, but that pushed straight up out of this, above that and above all-time highs, and this struggled. So it's usually the other way around. Well, that's my experience of it. I have noticed we seem to have trends. No, never pull back to the EMA till the channel had played out. Then you're scared to take since it's played out. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've got to say, I think we had better breaks maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. We seemed to have a break, 2 legs down and a nice trade. So whether that's just me or whether any of you guys, whether you got Chad think that that's the case, but we seem to get much better. Mind you, I touched on this yesterday, didn't I? Perhaps it was just my sort of immaturity back at the time, when I started. lack of experience, maybe a bit too excited, and you seem to see everything. Exactly what I was. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, would you want to take that? I get it's back at the EMA, but after that big bearish bar, you just don't know. Every time we push above, see, we're making new highs, and that could be the time where the thing comes tumbling down. So if you take a trade there, it may tick you, come down, close below the EMA, and then you've got a lower high then. But yeah, we don't seem to get as many good setups. Somebody mentioned that they, I don't know, employ these maths experts which tweak the algorithms, which weed out weak positions. I've heard the odd little rumour like that, but I couldn't tell you whether it's true or not. I don't know enough about it, so you just don't know. I always thought the markets move with just people buying and selling, but I don't know. Does the ES itself buy and sell? I don't understand it really. It'd be nice to find someone who knew. Maybe it's, maybe there's. I thought you were saying you didn't want to get multi. No, I didn't, mate. Till you're able to successfully build one. I guess that Apex offer was, yeah. What I have done though, mate, to slow things down is I'm trading 2 of them on 2 contracts and the other 3 on 1 contract. So the thing about me is I change my mind a lot. It's one of my, I want to say few flaws, probably many flaws actually. I do tend to get a bit, what's the word for it? Do change my mind a lot. Is there a word for it? A nut job? I don't know. Yeah, I can change my mind a lot. So I don't know, mate. It does. Well, I piss my wife off sometimes, and I'm forever changing my mind and add a new idea. But yeah, I mean, it's a good deal, but the fact that there's no set time, so indecisive. That's quite a polite word. I'll take that. I am a bit like that. It does annoy me. I do have. It doesn't bother me so much now, but a little bit of ADHD. And I don't know whether that has something to do with why I am forever changing my mind. Possibly. Chris he's deleted his message. I'm assuming it wasn't as friendly as Exponential. But no, I do change my mind a lot. It does annoy me sometimes. But what I am doing, fickle, that's much better, mate. What I am doing is reducing my risk. So 3 of them just a contract and 2 of them. But I do feel more confident in my trading ability now. So my patience is okay. So I don't know, things just feel better at the moment. So the thought now of jumping in to revenge trade annoys me now. It frustrates me. I don't want to do it anymore because it's just literally throwing money away. So I hope I'm in a better position. But I have, spread the risk about. I even considered maybe just trading 2 at a time or 3 at a time. But there does seem to be very few setups, and sometimes when you get a good setup, you want to try and trade them all. But I have, split them up a little bit, contract size. I don't know whether this is a bigger channel. Eventually, it's hard to say. So just for now, I'm going to say that channel's played out. So we actually haven't had it. Well, I mean, you could argue that there's a break and a new high. But there's a couple of legs back there, so it's hard to say whether this could go up. I suppose it could do. This, it's kind of a leg in a leg, isn't it? So maybe it will eventually push up. Maybe there will be something bigger. I'm just certainly not in the market to go short just at the moment or long. I'd rather just sit tight. Let's see what happens. On that note, I'm just going to take a quick Quick bathroom break. I'll just be a minute. Okay. Now have a look at this. How does that fit at the top? Nice. So there is a possibility. Let's just pull that back a little bit. There is a possibility. We've got some nice touches there. So let's see what happens here. If that continues on up, there is a possibility that there is a... I'm certainly careful about going long because we could trigger you and then have a look. So maybe this is a correction or something. Who knows? So that is a possibility. The only reason I've gone for that is because it fits nice at the top. So but the way we've come up to the top, we've gone a bit sideways. We've made 2 attempts. I'd like a bigger correction, really. A leg and a leg. Okay, so there's 3 touches there. 1, 2, 3. So maybe that's why it's reacted there. So, but it could trigger and come for another leg. So let's see if maybe we get a higher low. At the moment, the NQ is under the EMA and this is above it. So while this is under, I don't think I'll be confident in going long. Let's see what happens here. Well, technically, we haven't hit a new high there. I mean, you could argue we've had a break, but that's sort of in a little bit. So it's tough on that. In fact, I'd be inclined to pull that back a touch. So I'd say we haven't made a new high from there. So let's see if this pushes up and we get a higher low here. It is my concern that we get a leg and a leg and it comes down, takes out any possible longs, and at the moment we're still under that EMA on the NQ. So we come down. Yeah, it's a shame that there isn't anything there really. It just comes down and then turns up. So up to new highs again. So we're down below, pushing below here. So it could be a leg and a leg, just maybe another attempt to push higher and struggle. But at the moment, I mean, that looks very bearish, right hugging the underside. I'll be surprised if that doesn't get below here. Maybe a leg and a leg. You know, if I'm taking shorts, that's usually where I like them. I'm not saying I'd take a short there. I wouldn't trade there at all because there's always a possibility. Oh, I didn't really need that, did I? That there's a bigger channel. Sorry, a bigger range there, which means it could bear some push up. So. We do seem to be finding some resistance. Okay, we're at the bottom there, so it's hard to trade that really. It's nothing you can do with pushing up. You don't know whether it's going to come down, tick that push up, but okay, so we're down to this line I got here, so yeah, I mean that is very bearish, where especially when it hugs the underside there. That's a place where I love to take shorts. I mean, look at that. It's just come tumbling down, isn't it? How far is it going to go? And if you're going to take a short, if that was a bit more bearish, it might not be. I mean, look at that. Might not be a bad idea. Just going to shove this one out the way a bit. So really, we've just had a push up and a drop. So, I mean, let's just forget that for now. I think it's safe to say it's a pretty decent break. So maybe we've just had a break and a few attempts to go lower, and now we're coming down. If we can get two legs up here with something bearish, I wouldn't mind having a go to short there. 2 attempts to go higher, something bearish, maybe we come down. I'm going to get rid of that, I think. No, let's leave it there, because there may be, if we do come down, there may be some support. Yeah, that doesn't interest me just yet. I want 2 proper attempts. So there's always a possibility of, we've got a touch here, it fits really nice here, it might be an overshoot, so we may continue one up. It's hard to say really. Wouldn't think that would just be too wide for a channel. Maybe it isn't. Touching lovely there, we've got to touch that. Maybe an overshoot, so maybe there is something bigger brewing. I mean, that's just just taken most of that back. Okay, we need another a second entry short here. That. Okay. Come on, give me another option. This to me looks like it's going down now. Forget this, I don't think. I mean, whether it's an overshoot or not, I don't know. I'm not massively convinced. We need to pull back here, come on. I don't want this to drop yet. Give us a pullback. Yeah, it is. As Lance said. Trouble is, if that is a bigger channel and we're at the bottom of it, the last thing I want to do is go short. I'm not saying that is. I mean, there's always a possibility of that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, there's a pullback. Let's see if we tank again now. So we're leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. We want to close here. And then have something bearish. Whether it will or not, God only knows. Looking on the 10,000 tick chart, we've got a leg out and a break. I mean, we've had a touch and a touch. I mean, it could push up. It really could. It's hard to say. That failure there is triggered, and that is moving on up. So, unless that turns, I don't know what I'd want to do there. Not sure about that. Could trap you here. It really could go up at... yeah, I'm staying out of this, I think. Could go up or down. It could really shoot either way. We're above the EMA here. It could drop or it could push up. There is a failure there. There's probably... not sure about this. There is possibility of maybe something larger there. That kind of looks okay. But we're right at the EMA here. It's pretty flat. There is a second entry long there. Some failure. I just don't like it. Not like what I'm seeing here. In fact, I'm just going to bin that just for a minute. The 10,000 tick chart does look quite bullish. Yeah, I'm just not sure about any of this. This looks a bit rangy. So let's have a look here. I mean, this could rock it up. So perhaps that failure is not too bad. It's right around this midline. There is some support along there, so I would expect that to push up. But I don't really want to get into a trade because it's just, this is looking more bearish. Yeah, this looks like it's coming down to me. I don't know. No idea. Mixed feelings here. That kind of fits as well. So danger zone this is. Yeah, this is getting quite congested now. It really could do either or. Hard to know exactly what. Yeah, when it is like this, the best thing to do is just to stay out. I mean, 1 minute it's looking. I mean, at the moment with this on the NQ, it looks like it kind of fits, and it may trigger some longs, and it may just drop, but it could equally just push up. We might have a leg, a little bit of sideways, and then another leg. I wouldn't suggest we've necessarily made a new high there, so it could go up. So it's just really hit and miss. You might as well just toss a coin here. Trend down, needs a new low. Yeah, is it going to get one though? Okay, there is that bearish bar's triggered on the NQ, but it doesn't seem to be in a hurry to come down. Once you go so far, you tend to think that then it'll just go. Maybe this is it. Yeah, you just can't trade this. It's just creating traps, really, isn't it? It'll probably shoot off in one direction at some point. It depends whether traders. I just lost. Are you kidding? If you, I'll tell you what I do. I know people when they're cheap take risks with them. I get that. I do myself, but I split them up into twos or something. That's what I tend to do with those two I got. I traded them individually if I was going to be a bit risky. At least that way, if you have a bit of bad luck, you got a second crack at the whip. Do you know what I mean? I do wonder sometimes whether it does us any favours being so cheap, because the cheaper something is, the less respect you have for it, really, don't you? You know what I mean? We sort of are in a throwaway society. If something's cheap, rather than we'll just throw it away and buy a new one. So it's okay. It's not much money. I will try again. Yeah, all right, bud. I mean, you have got that benefit to do it. I mean, yesterday, I paid $30 and I've got 2 PAs. Obviously, I had to pay for the PAs, but it's nice to have that option, but sometimes it can sort of, I personally think, get you into some bad habits sometimes. I've had to struggle with bad habits. So sometimes you can, I don't want to moan it, too much about it. I tend to rub it on a bit, but what's going on here? Are we going to push up now, or are we going to trap some longs and come down? It's still flipping sideways, isn't it? Today is a day for risk. Back to, yeah. I mean, I got no issues with risking at $15. I do myself. You should have seen some of the trades I took yesterday. There was a lot of luck involved. The fact that it was going up helped me out. But I've blown way more than I've passed, put it that way. And you have got that benefit that you can take a few risks and get it passed quick onto a PA. As long as then when you get onto a PA, you come back down to earth and trade them sort of carefully. God, do you know what? It could really do anything here. We've sort of possibly trapped some longs and pushed above, and we've come back down. So it could absolutely drop, take out any stops there, or it could push up and take out a few. Take out a few shorts. Got a leg up. What do I think? I think it's going to go up. Because this hasn't. Well, I don't know really. Actually, that would just be a guess. See what I mean? 1 minute you think we're going to trap some shorts, and then that happens. So yeah, it just looks just like it's looking to make money here, doesn't it? Just to trap people. There's nothing you can do really here, is there? Yeah, Kanan, you're not wrong, mate. Hopefully, because we've had this big push, so maybe this is a bit of sideways. In fact, are we actually pushing up there? Maybe this is just maybe there is a spiking channel there. Let's have a look. We do seem to be working up there, so that is a possibility. We did that yesterday. Started working up. I didn't pay too much attention to it at the time. Let me just pull that out of the way. Where was it? There we go inside when we started going up, didn't we? And it turned into something bigger. So maybe this is the bottom side of something bigger. Trouble is, it's very easy to get taken in by that, and then you end up getting stopped. Because sometimes what I find is when there's a slow grind up, sometimes we'll have a quick flush down and take out a bunch of stops. So, well, trouble is, where the hell did you put that here? It's hard to trade this, really. There's nothing I kind of like, really, that I think I might even never go at. Because it's also a bit sideways, so... the trouble is the EMS looks like it could do... Sorry, the NQ looks like it could absolutely do anything. Possibly a second entry short. Are we coming down or are we going up? Who knows? That channel doesn't look too bad. So we could have a break and a drop, which might rule this channel out. In fact, I'm probably better off to get rid of it just at the moment. Because we've had this leg up. Maybe we have one attempt to go lower. Maybe we have a second attempt to go lower before we push up. tell you what I wish. I'll tell you what, Jay, you'll understand this if you've just got 10 more evals. I wish you could buy them in bulk or even in sets of 3. It's a pain in the arse buying them individually because it takes about 20 minutes. It's a pain in the arse. I'm surprised they don't allow you to do it in 5s. I think more people would pick up more. I think Apex would help themselves out there, or at least maybe into 2 at a time, but doing them individually. I mean, imagine if you were picking up 20, you'd have to take a spare hour before you traded, wouldn't you? I'd become a master at the one. You can do it a bit quicker. But if you're anything like me, what I used to do, because I didn't want my... Just check my wife's not around. What I used to do, because I didn't want my wife to find out how much I was really spending, I put so much on one account, so much on another account, maybe a little bit on a credit card, and I'd spread them around like that so it wouldn't look like I was using... I don't know if anybody else does that. I did tell my wife in the end how much I'd spent, and surprisingly enough, I was expecting to have to duck pretty quickly, but she was pretty understanding actually. But yeah, I spread them around so it doesn't look like, I've just gone too mad. So leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. I'll expect this to come down now. There's probably going to be some longs there. This is going to come down quite sharply, I would suspect. We got a leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, through the EMA. There'll be some longs there for sure. Let's have a look. But I'm guessing my wife keeps it from me how much she spends on makeup and face creams, because I know some of these face creams can cost you flipping arm and a leg. So I'm pretty sure she has a fair share of secrets. I expect this to come down, I do. I definitely say there's going to be some stops there. It does look like a penguin trade, doesn't it? Leg up, and then down. So I'd expect to probably get below this bottom here. If we do get below there, I'd say that's going to come down pretty quick. Unfortunately, there's no setup there. And even if there was, we're still right in the middle of this, so you just never know. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen, but it's not enough to get me to trade, because if I do take a trade here, it's going to be right in the midline. So it's just too risky. Let's see if that triggers. It is, mate, yeah. Last day today. You can still get the 90% off up till Sunday, midnight on, or just before midnight on Sunday, but if you want to pass an evaluation today to go for a PA from tomorrow, it's got to be done today. Okay, let's see what happens here. Anytime, mate, anytime. We'll try some HF trades on NQHF. High frequency, is that what that means? If it is, I've heard of it, but I got no idea what it is. High frequency, does that mean you're just hitting the button constantly? Is that what it means? Oh, it is. Oh, that was a good guess. High frequency, I'm assuming it just means lots of little trades, does it? Is that what it means? Micro, small trade? I don't know. A lot of... Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, so, yeah, it kind of made sense. It's kind of what I did yesterday, to be honest with you. We'll put it this way. I think I had over $300 in fees yesterday. Both accounts were 3,312, I think. So there was a lot of, yeah, you can work that out, can't you? Put it that way, $300 worth of fees. You can tell how many trades I was taking. And that's the sort of that's what happens when they're cheap. $15. You know, you don't mind taking a risk, do you? So what are we doing here? Let's have a look at this. We had that push up, haven't we? Strong push down. We're making multiple attempts to go higher. So perhaps we are going to come down. There may be some longs there. This does look like it's going to come down, doesn't it? The trouble is it may come down to here, trigger here, and then turn again. Unfortunately, there's no setup here. If you're going to go short, it's right into the middle of that, which is probably not the best idea. If we get below there, once we get below there, then I would suspect there'll be some stops there, and that will be enough to get us to these lows. These here, actually, we're a tick below there, aren't we? I'm assuming if you're in there, your stops are probably here. Possibly a second entry long. Let's see if that triggers. Okay. See this. Yeah, I'd suggest this is going to break this low here. It seems to have a bit of steam. Unfortunately, there's no real setup here. So we got a leg up. One attempt to go lower, second attempt to go up. Maybe we're going to have a couple of pushes down before we push up. Who knows? Pure speculation. Yeah, I mean, it was a penguin style trade that. I laid down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, push through the EMA, a little bit of a pullback, and then relatively strong down through those lows. It'd be interesting to see whether he took that. Okay, folks, what time is it? I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm getting a bit thirsty, so I'm just going to make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. I don't miss much, did I? At least price is moving a bit anyway. So we've got a leg, channel down there, break, 2 pushes down to a new low. Maybe there's something bigger there. I'm not overly convinced. It's a bit shallow for me, I think. See, looking on the 10,000 tick chart, we've got a channel up and 2 legs back. So there is a possibility of something larger. 2 legs. I'm not convinced about that. That's looking very tempting, that, isn't it? Leg, nice bullish bar. I can't even figure out what's going on, in all fairness. That's triggered. No idea. It's not really telling us much. I would say that probably looks about right there. So we've had a break. 2 clear legs down to a new low. So we've had a push up above the EMA. We've come back. We've triggered a short. Possible bearish bar. Is that going to continue? Well, maybe it is. It's just very whippy, isn't it? So there's just nothing safe. I mean, 1 minute looks like it's coming down, next minute. But what I will say is we are making lower highs at the top. So although it may just be 2 legs down and we could continue up, I don't really want to go long. I'm not really interested in going short at the moment either, because it is very just whipping up and down. Not sure about that. Kind of looks like a two-tiered channel. Nothing to do, really. Nothing to do. No short here, anyway. Leg down. One attempt to go higher. Second attempt to go higher. Failure. Possible second entry short here. Possible second entry short here. My only slight concern, depending on where how that finishes, is going into some. There is support there. Now it could smash straight through there. Who knows? But it's a big could, and we have come off this level here where we've sort of hit before. I would, if I was going to take a short there, I would much prefer that part of the body tucked right underneath that EMA, like we had earlier. Where was it? I forget what it was now. Because that could stuff you. It hasn't finished brilliant anyway, so it is just whippy. Leg. Okay, let's have a look here. So I've got it like that. Whether it is or not, I think there may be something there anyway. So whether it's a channel there or it stems from there, who knows? Possible second entry short. No traded Wednesday, Thursday, and today with 0 trades. Yeah, I can't remember. I took nothing yesterday. Nothing on my PAs anyway. There's nothing. Yeah, I get. We had that. It was like a week or so ago, and then I had 3 trades within the space of 30 minutes. So it's like the bus service in the UK. You get nothing for hours, and all of a sudden 3 come along at once. But yeah, it is. I mean, sometimes you think, especially as a streamer, you hear some people saying, I got that for a point, and sometimes you feel like, am I just not trading enough, or am I missing setups? But you know, when I hear you talking like that, I absolutely get it. There's been nothing that's interested me really. Nothing what I would call a safe setup. And personally, I like to wait until a setup jumps out at me. You know, there's a lot at the moment. There's a lot of this. It could do this and it could do that. Well, I've answered my own question there. It does look like a lower high, but it's choppy, so you just can't take anything. But I like to trade, you know, those trades where you can't click the button quick enough, and then just take advantage when you get an opportunity. But the trouble is, I mean, it does look like it's coming down, but I mean, you get into a trade like that, maybe it triggers you, pushes up, and you know, it's choppy and dangerous. And I think really the sensible thing to do is just to stay out of this and just sit and watch and hope it sort of moves off in some sort of direction and gives you an option. But at the moment, it's just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's just dangerous when it's trading like when it's moving like that. So yeah, I think I've only had 1 trade in the last 3 days. 1, maybe 2, I don't know. I think one of those was pushing my luck a bit. But sometimes it just seems like everything's almost frozen in time, and then sometimes you'll just get a few in a row. BJ, how you doing, my friend? Anybody else had a bit of a stale moment? No setups, no trades. I'm Not even massively convinced that's right, and if so, I did it. 19 trades, 78% win rate on the 25k. was that last week? Was that this week? Now, I used to trade, and I think just over the last few years, I've slowly doing less and less. But I think I even possibly went the other way. I think there was a couple of months ago where I was missing some good ones, because I think sometimes you go from being careless to overcautious, and it's trying to find some sort of balance. But sometimes I've gone back and I thought, what the hell did I take that trade? And there was a reason. But in real time, the trouble is with scalping, especially on a quick moving market like this, you don't get a lot of time to think. And sometimes if things aren't clear, you're better off. There is a second entry short there. It's just too dangerous at the moment. What's that? Gil Hayden. I was stale until I decided to get myself slaughtered trying to get out of scalping. Yeah, we've all done that. There is a second entry short there. We've had a little break out of this. I'm not even massively convinced. This is a great channel. It does seem to be working. Perhaps it is leg down, 2 attempts higher. Trouble is, it's that whippy, isn't it? It's just hard to trust at the market at the moment. It clearly went for 2 points, but what do you do? Trouble is, we've come off this possible bottom. We could just come back here, push up, trigger some shorts, and then move back towards the top. Now, it's easy to pick that after the fact. To leg down, 2 attempts higher, second entry short, bearish bar. Look like we're coming down. So it's easy to mark that as a setup, but in real time, you don't know whether it's going to trigger and push up to here. And it's hard to do that. And this doesn't make it look any better. Yeah, there was a second entry short, but we've broken above here. And so many times when we have a break of a channel, we mess around for 20 minutes before we eventually move and make a new extreme. So I can't trust, bars like that at the moment, because it could come up, take you out, go a bit sideways, and eventually work down. So it's hard to trust this market. When it does this so much of the time, it's very hard to have any trust in it. You just feel like you're getting scammed. And I know when we're all learning to trade, they say, don't take it personally, the market's not out to get you. I disagree. I think the market is. It's looking for weak positions with inexperienced traders. So technically, it really is out to get you. So there is a lower high there, sort of below this lot, but where's that going? Down here, or is it going to turn there? No idea. But yeah, in fact, I think we can probably get rid of that. So maybe break new high. Maybe this is just a channel down. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it. I mean, we're clearly working it, aren't we? So maybe with that little bit of sideways, I'm overcomplicating stuff. In all fairness, though, I wouldn't have normally taken that. I'd have waited for a lower to high. It's above the EMA. But perhaps it's not a bad setup. I think that's the type of setup I'd see Marco take. We have a leg down, 2 attempts to go high and a failure. I just don't like how far away it is from the EMA. We've had a bit of a push up here. You don't know whether it's going to trigger and push higher, but how that's fitting now, it kind of doesn't look that bad. It's actually a bull flag, isn't it? So maybe a couple of legs down and then we're going to continue up. Let's have a look. You never know. Depending on how you see this, but I'd suggest that that's a break and a new low. We've come down to the open and bounced twice off the open. So, yeah, it is a bit frustrating when it's like this. Especially, like you say, when you go for a few days without a trade. I often go through a day without a trade. Yeah, that actually is not fitting too bad, I think. Yeah, we're fitting nice along the top and we're fitting nice along the bottom. So, I don't think I was doing myself any favours with that range. It did seem a bit rangy, but we are making lower highs and lower lows, so it's just probably just a choppy channeling as opposed to a range. It didn't look like a range on the 10,000 tick chart. In all fairness, it just looked like 2 legs down, so that's the 10,000 tick chart, which is a bit of a clearer picture. Just gets rid of some of the crap, so that actually makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? So let's ditch that. So leg up, break. Maybe we're eventually going to push up. Who knows? If we play a range, we have a bearish imbalance and a breakout, maybe. Yeah. We do have lots of days like this, don't we? Trouble is, you can't really take a long here because we are working down. It doesn't mean a long isn't going to work, but, you know, as a rule, it would be counter-trend trading. So, if you think that's a channel, which it kind of is, let's call it a bit of a spike and channel touch. Close enough there. Touch, touch, touch. Touching quite nice there. So although it's a bit whippy, it does seem to be slowly coming down. So we've had a break here and we've made a new low. So are we going to make another leg down before we could possibly reverse? Can't see a break here. But that to me looks like a bull flag. In a lot of cases, a bull flag will just push straight out there, come back, retest it and rock it on up. So so we've come down and bounced off the open. So let's see what happens here. Sorry. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that was a bad trade. At the time, I was a bit torn between a range. Please remove 5. Sorry, bud. There you go. I was torn between sort of sideways and down, so I left that alone. But I don't think it's too bad. We got a leg down, one attempt to go high, second attempt to go higher. I'd have preferred it a little bit below the EMA of that, but I don't think it's a bad trade. There's nothing else I can see that would make me consider really, because so much of it, it's hard to know exactly what we're doing. Are we pushing up some more or what? We have bounced. Well, I say bounced. We've created another new high there, so there is a possibility of getting a decent push down, because we had a really bullish day today and a really strong start. I mean, that went up another, I know, 45, 50 points. And what with 100, 18, 90 points yesterday, we've had quite a reasonable push up. a strong move off there. Just can't take though, it's a massive risk that. Tick above it, tick below it. Well, it's not 4 points, still bigger than I'd like. And at the moment, although it's likely going to go up a bit more, we are. So the trouble is that could sort of push up now. See, I may have even misjudged this. Maybe that's more like that. So maybe that's still within this. Maybe this is just more of a spike and a channel. So there is possibly 2 legs up. We could come down some more here. There's me thinking we've broken out. We may not have done. Yeah, I don't think I can now. Or can I? Oh, I can. Yeah, I can. It's all right. When I got this this thing on the side here, that middle button changed to something else. But yeah. Right. Okay. No. Yeah, I can't do it on this one. Because of these, I've removed them on here. So this one I can. Would tell me the high and the low, so I'm working out, but I can't on this because of this. For some reason, it gets rid of that. Because I got these high, low, and open, it won't allow me to do it. If I click that, it'll bring that up. Yeah, it's a pain actually. It's quite useful to do that. Okay, so 2 pushes up and a bearish bar off here. Can you rely on that one? I'm not comfortable with it because there is still that possibility of I might have got that slightly wrong and we've already had a break. Or it might just be like that. Plus 25 in one day. Good on you, mate. High frequency scalping and got a few on my normal trading too. And have a nice weekend. Yeah, you too, pal. You too. Trouble is, I mean, even if this coming down, it's just hard to go short here into this. And not only that, the 10,000 tick chart, I kind of like that. But we're right at the bottom, so generally at the bottom you'd expect it to turn, wouldn't you? So just can't get into a short here. Even this looks like it may come down and it may then push below here, but you can't short into that. You're asking for trouble there. There is a possible lower high forming here. We have come off these tops, so I think there's a good enough chance we could come down some more. The trouble is, we're right at the bottom of this. You just can't do it on the ESS, unfortunately. As much as we think it's probably going to drop out, it's just too dangerous. Can you do? Can you do? You do. There's nothing you can do here, really. I mean, you may. That actually might not be a bad trade, in all fairness. And one push up, second push up, finish right below there. Trouble is, it's right at the lows of this, so I just wasn't even a fan of it. I think that on the one good thing about that is we had a strong buy off the bottom here, crossed over, pushed up, dropped down, finished on its lows, right under. I love taking trades like that. Unfortunately, it wasn't really a setup as such. You could have taken it as a failed break out of this, but I didn't have a lot of luck with those, in all fairness. They just don't work very well for me. Whether I don't read them right or what, I'm not sure. But not only that, we're tagging these lows, so you don't know whether we're actually, the move is up and we're just going to come down, trap some shorts and then have another leg up towards the top. So it's just same again. It's just hard to make a decision on here. We're right at the bottom on the 10,000 tick chart. You don't know it's going to do that. But on here, it's still fitting. So what can you do? You know, I mean, if you'd have got a lower high there, then maybe you take a risk. It is frustrating that, you know, you got a pretty good idea where it's going, but it's not really enough just to take a risk, because it would be going against my setup. and if I do that, that's when it messes with my head, because I know I shouldn't have done it. So the only thing you can do really is just to stay out of it and let it go by. It's just part of it. So we've come down, tapped off the bottom and reversed. So what are we doing now? Yeah, it has, mate. Yeah. There's been such a lot of up stuff lately, isn't it? I don't know about you guys. I know Chad feels the same, but it's just setups just don't seem to be like they used to. They used to be just, well, I don't know. You could look at a chart and see, you know, comfortably 3 really good, obvious setups. You know, you get a break, you get a lovely second entry, and it would just work like a dream. But lately, over the last, I don't know, maybe 12 months, I seem to notice it more in the middle of last year. I know some people said it'll get better when, September, everyone gets back to work, but it didn't. But it does go through phases. We seem to get a phase of better setups, but I'm going to say it's hard to find what I would consider a really good high probability setup. There are trades that I think are risky, that they seem like they're right, but it's hard going at the moment. Luckily, we don't need a lot of setups to make a good living, but we do need some. They have just been going up. See, normally when I started trading currency, that's what we would do. We would search different currency pairs to find a strong currency against a weak pair and look for a trend. We were trend followers. So you think when you get a trend, that's when you're going to start earning your money. But we've been pushing up so long lately, but there just hasn't been a setup. I have my bear channel starting from where your third swing is. That one there. That one there. Yeah, because this is just a bit whippy, isn't it? Let's have a look. See, is that a bit of an overshoot? I'd suggest it is, because see if I can move that a bit more. Yeah, this is a bit up and down, isn't it? But we do seem to settle there, don't we? My issue is with that, we've got a touch there and a touch there, which may suggest an overshoot. And we have here, actually, at least they sort of look a little bit more in sync now. Seems a bit to fit. Yeah, it does a bit. So, have you ever followed the... Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah, he trades, isn't it? Auto bonds or something. Not auto bonds. What's it? Bonds, doesn't he? He uses some form of order flow, doesn't he? I do like him, actually. I have watched lots of his videos. He's done okay out of it, for sure. Ultra Bond, that's it, yeah. Yeah, I do. I wish we'd a kid and can hear his real voice. It just his voice sounds like something off a 1970s porn film, doesn't it? A little bit. But you can trade his style using charts. Probably, yeah. I think you can trade anything really using price action. But however he does it, he's very successful at it. I particularly like that video where he bought his nice shiny new Porsche. Well, I don't know about new, but it was a lot newer. Like that, yeah. Yeah. He's a nice guy, actually. Nice guy. He doesn't make as many videos as he used to, but yeah, Ultra Bonds. Or Bond, what are they are, Bonds? God, are we still going down? When you say third swing, you mean this one? Does that look any better? Do you know what? I think this is a bit of chop. Maybe it is this. Let's have a look. Maybe it's a bit steeper than we thought. I don't really know. It's hard to. That's what I mean. Sometimes these channels are hard. Perhaps this is just a little bit of chop. Maybe it is just a bit of chop, and then we've had pushed it. It might be, you know, because, and the reason I say that is because, let me just get it right. We've pushed out and retested. Tech, how you doing, bud? How you doing? Tech 111. How you doing? So maybe it is a bit steeper. It does look like this. I mean, obviously with the exception of this, it does look a bit rangy, but we've had a drop below and we've had two pushes up and tested this underside and continued down. So maybe it is something like that. So maybe that trade was better than you think. Push down, a couple of attempts to go over, but we haven't confirmed that line really to there. So perhaps, mate, I don't know, maybe it is that. It's hard to, the trouble is, unless you're sure, it's very hard to, it's hard to make a decision on what to do, because if you get it wrong, sometimes these channels don't appear properly until they work a little bit more, but I will say that does look like a channel. So, man, look at that, flipping hell. So maybe it is something like that. How does it fit there? Actually, it fits. Maybe it's there. Wow. Okay, so I mean, we could just be in a great big range all day. You never know, do you? Maybe that's just what it is, a big ass range. So that trend, look at that. I did kind of wonder how much further we would push up before we had a decent sized pullback. I mean, we're well into the lows, past the lows of the day there, and that thing just see this. It could be a bunch of stuff, this, couldn't it? Let me have a look. No, I got no idea at the moment. I don't know. And that is it's upside down cup, innit? You reached the same message twice. You what? You reacted to the same message twice. Felt like they had today. How can you draw it? It's more like an arc, isn't it? Unfortunately, we don't have trend channels like that. But okay, excuse me, just for a second. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to yank that out of the way for a minute. Right, let's open this up a bit. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so there is a possibility we may just have a big ass range. Let's see, but that to me, I think that's just exactly what it is. A big range. So depending on whether you like that or not, I kind of think it doesn't look too bad. Excuse me. In which case I'd say there's probably an overshoot. So yeah, I'm just seeing if there's any type of a bigger channel on the NQ. It's so hard to see. It's very hard to read today. Very hard to read. Are we going up or what? The trouble is, when we get an overshoot, sometimes we will just rock it up. Other times we'll sort of come down and bounce and then push up. Other times we'll correct. I mean, there's a higher low there, but I just don't trust any of this stuff. See, it might just be a channel down, 2 legs up and then down some more. God only knows. Trouble is, if I treat that like a channel, 2 legs up and come down, it may be an overshoot, which might mean it continues up. That's a good trade, around 600 per contract. Just bounced off yesterday's close, really. Excuse me. Yeah. The trouble is, there is like a small channel there. Now, if we have a couple of legs up, a second entry short, it might be a trade, but if you look at that channel, this is an overshoot. So, well, it could be an overshoot if I got this right, which means it might trap you and then push up. So I got mixed feelings about what to do. Especially when it does that big arc thing, it's kind of hard to know how to treat it. Do you draw it there, or do you you just kind of keep adjusting it until something looks right. Perhaps it was there, and then we went a bit steeper. No, but we got a touch. So I don't know. I saw when it broke the early sideways box. Yeah, that I don't think was a terrible trade. I tend to, I know, Matt goes on about fading the breakouts. Most breakouts fail, and indeed that certainly did. But I suppose what you could say is we broke out the bottom, so we took out any possible shorts, and then we rocketed up. And then you would expect maybe some buyers to buy there, and it triggered and came down right under this. But at the time, I think I had mine more sideways, so I wasn't thinking about going short because I sort of had the bottom here, so it could have pushed up. So when it is like this, it's a bit messy. It's very hard to read and make an executive decision on which direction to trade the markets, because it's just so, it's hard. It's a curve, really, isn't it? And how do you trade a curve? It's another tough day. I thought yesterday was a bit tough. I would suggest that on the NQ there is an overshoot. This is what I'm seeing anyway. You had something like that, and then it went a bit steeper. It went very steep, and that to me, 2 strong pushes down looks like an overshoot, and that to me looks like a bit of a bottoming pattern. So I would be cautious about going short on here, which means the same. So trouble is, what we're going to try and do is get away from trying to find something and just stay out of it, because you don't know where it's going to go. There is kind of a lower high there, but after this and the overshoot, I can't bring myself to go short, although it may come down. Could do a bunch of stuff, but it's congested and a bit uncertain, so it would be just complete guesswork, I think, personally. And there is a lower high there. Who knows? Maybe it isn't an overshoot. It kind of works in that top tier. How do you know? How do you know whether it's an overshoot or not? I hear Max sometimes saying, I'm not convinced it's an overshoot. Well, is it or isn't it? But it does seem to work there kind of nice. And we've had a quick 2 bars down, so I would suggest it's more likely an overshoot. I think it's safer to assume it is, and not, jump in going short. What this could be the start of a really big pullback. Let's see what happens when we reach here. I mean, it could absolutely tank, couldn't it? We've got a touch there, so maybe it's something like that. Maybe it is. Maybe we're going to bounce here, come up, and come down some more. We have had such a lot of strong upward movement, not like that. Well, no, I've adjusted it now to touch there and there, so maybe, and it's actually touched right in that cross section, isn't it? So, what's going to happen if we can get up here? Are we going to come down? I mean, we bounced there, so we can't argue that. So it could possibly go back up, or we could have a couple of legs and it could drop some more. We've had such a lot of buying lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had some in the other direction for a bit. You're a boxer today. ES trade, how you doing, bud? Nice trade to the bottom of your box. I just got no idea what to do here today. I mean, we have bounced there. Maybe we are going to push back up. But this channel now, the way it's touching here, and here, kind of looks okay. It'd be interesting to see what happens when we get up here, whether we come down, bounce, or we do break through this. But we have had such a lot of upward stuff. Went short on the way up and got chopped up. Yeah, the trouble is, when it is like this and you see these moves, you kind of want to try and get into them, don't you? And you don't know whether over time, every sort of half an hour you sit here, whether it eats into your patience, and sometimes it's hard to know whether you're taking a trade because your patience has gone a bit. I had to take one on the way up. Forgot that. Yeah. The trouble is when you never quite know what it's going to go. All you can do is just I try and pick the trades. The ones that are sort of near perfect, and you can't click the button quick enough. I try and wait for those, but there are some times where I go, it's a lower high, and it might be a little bit more from the EMA. So what I'm finding now, I either like a trade or I don't. It's okay. My losses. That's it for me lately. Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's the toughest part of trading, accepting losses. As human beings, we don't like losing things, and we certainly don't like losing money, and it's very hard. So what I try and do is when I take a loss, I try and be aware about how I feel. And I'm thinking, am I okay with it? Okay, it's, I try and give myself a bit of a talking to. It's okay, it's going to happen. You've got to accept it, blah, blah, blah. And if you can get to that stage where you can do that, then you're over halfway there already. Because, the emotional side is one of the hardest parts to sort of master, really. Learning to trade the charts, it's just a process, really. You need to trade enough, to get there. But that emotional side, some people I'd definitely say are better at it than others. For me, it's the people that are some people are just driven. They get out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, they go for a 5-mile run, they come back, they have a smoothie, they have a shower, they have a shave every single morning without, those people who are well in control. I think they're better at it. Personally, it's not one of my stronger points. So I have wondered how I'm going to be able to handle it and adapt, but I think I've got options now. See, I've got 2 of my accounts at trading 2 contracts, the other 3 at 1. So what I can do is if I take one loss, I can maybe leave the ones on 2 contract where I've had the bigger loss and just trade the remainder. So I've got options. So what I'm going to do is just do a self-assessment and see how I feel. But I have got better at walking away from the charts if I think it's a crap day or something's not going right. So I am lately been thinking a lot about, why do I just throw these accounts away? You got $1,500 in account, you lose let's say you lose half of it, $750. You're frustrated, so you end up taking a stupid risk and losing it all. Then you've got to pay for another evaluation and pass it. Then you've got to pay another $140 for a PA, and it starts on 0. So you might as well miss out all the crap and just start on $750. So I'm trying to get myself into that mind frame of just not wanting to mess around anymore, and just accept it. And I think we will at some point. I just hope my points now, because it does feel better. But I've been a bit like this before, positive and all that, and then when you take a loss, something changes and you just tend to go off on one. Do you see a second failed attempt long against the EMA? We're done with that now anyway, aren't we? A second failed attempt long. Are you on about a failed second entry long? I'm not sure at the moment here. Be interesting to see what happens now. So we could do one or two things off here. We could maybe come down and retest and push up, or we could try and smash through it. When things are going good and you are confident, that's when you blow up the air. It is weird, isn't it? I had a day last week that I took 3 trades in a row and I felt really good and really confident. And then I had that small loss on a Friday, and you try and put it into perspective, but it's still, and I find your confidence in trading tends to go up and down. When things are working well, it goes up. You feel good. You feel like, yeah, I've got this. I know what trades to sit and wait for. And then something changes. But what I think I've realised is you've got to consistently try to be strict. because sometimes when you get a bit better at it, you get a little bit overconfident. That's when you can make mistakes. But you've got to be consistently on your game. So I don't think it's a job that's going to become easy at some point. You're going to become better at it, more confident, and the losses aren't going to hurt as much. But you're still going to be on your game. You know, just because you're a trader that makes $20 million a year doesn't mean the market's going to give you easier setups. Doesn't mean you've earned easier setups. You know, you've always got to be on your game. So it probably never completely goes away as a job that, you know, a normal desk job that you can sit and just relax and do your job and you go home on a Friday. You know, it's probably always going to be a challenge to a degree. I just hope it doesn't. You know, I look forward to that day where those losses, you can just let them go a little bit. No one likes to lose money. You know, even successful traders who make a fortune, I'm pretty sure they don't like to still lose money. But, you know, it is something we've all got to accept if we want to move on to that next level. It's an ever-changing, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that one. I think you're always learning. Markets are always changing and developing. You're always changing with them. I think you'll get to the stage where, you know, the losses won't really hurt as much. You know, you'll be used to them, and you'll believe in your setup. And maybe when you take a loss, you'll just put it aside a bit easier. You know, but every day I think it's a challenge. You know, some people like that in a job. I actually quite like a challenge. It's part of the reason why I kind of like all this feeling like shit in a strange way, because I like to think that when I'm earning money, I damn well deserve it, you know. Yeah, I find it sort of addictive in a way. You know, I love to try and, it feels crap, but I kind of wouldn't want to be without it. And I think that shows. I think the more you try, if you've been here and you've been trying to trade for 3 years and you're still here, you're obviously stubborn enough that you're not going to go away. You know, but it's always a challenge. But yeah, you know, I'm always an advocate of you work hard, you play hard. So, you know, you work hard, you have the stress, you have a nice car, nice holidays, and you enjoy your life. I don't want to be one of these sort of mundane people that just go to work and work for someone else all my life and just, you know, make them money and they have a nice car, they go on nice holidays and you're struggling to make ends meet. I point out, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. You know, I'm not sort of stubborn in a way. You know, I'm happy to say that I struggle with this and I struggle with that. I think, you know, if you admit you struggle with things, it makes you a more rounded person. But I do enjoy trading. I did wonder whether that enjoyment is more addiction, but I've never been a person that's been addicted to stuff. I smoked a little bit when I was younger, and I just gave it up. Never bothered me. Didn't like the fact that I, you know, was addicted to it. I thought that's not me. I'm not letting something control me, and I just stopped. No, no issues. Never been a better. Never. I've very rarely put money on a football match. It's been very rarely. You know, I can count on two hands how many times I've bet on something in my lifetime. It just does nothing for me. You know, playing arcades, fruit machines and stuff in arcades doesn't give me a kick. So I've never been a person that's, you know, been someone that has been a gambler. So, but I have had friends who have, you know, I got a friend of mine who I went out for a beer with just before Christmas and said he'd been spending a hell of a lot of money on online casinos. I think he spent over £2,000 in a few months, and he'd had to contact them and, you know, download the app which stops you. So I have had friends who have been addicted. I know my wife's uncle lost their business and their home betting on horse racing. So, you know, I have sort of experienced, you know, people who have been like that, but it's just never done anything for me. I didn't get a kick out of it. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I agree with you. It is a thin line, because how do you know sometimes? Because this is gambling. Trading is gambling. You're betting on an outcome where you could lose money. There's no difference between betting on a market going up or betting on a horse, But it's gambling that there is a very strong edge. But you are prone to those addictions. If you're a person who can get very addicted, I absolutely think people have lost a fortune in trading. Absolutely. So it is a fine line, but I think you have to be aware of it and make sure you stay in control of it. And if you think you're spending a bit too much, reel it back, take a break, because I think, depending on what type of personality you've got, I absolutely think there's people who've spent a fortune on trading. It kind of annoys me losing money now, which I think is a good thing. I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, it is. It's trying to be a full-time gambler and keeping it in check. So we've had a strong push off there now. So I'm guessing this is quite likely. I've learned to break through it. I also use NeuroTrack to deal with recovering from failure. NeuroTracker. What is that, mate? Explain to me what that is. That sounds interesting. You took that fairly, Jay, did you? That one there. There's no break on mine. Or is there? I don't know. But yeah, I get that, yeah. Don't have the large... Oh, you don't have that. Yeah, I am wondering whether that is anything anyway. There's probably something there, but it's more of an arc. I'd say that's probably the more than what's it. Yeah. So if we can get a break here, a couple of legs down, I think there's a good chance we're going to go up. Yeah, looking at the NQ, depending on how you look. In fact, let me just see if there's nothing bigger. Yeah, we got a child down here with an overshoot come down, so that's a strong push off there. So I think, yeah, we're likely just coming off the bottom of a range. What have I missed there? I have no read, just watching. Yeah, same here. I don't have the light yet. I don't. That's I played it. Yeah. Well, how many points? Yeah, where are you, Jay? Let me know what you mean, mate, about that NeuroTracker. That's. Oh, there we go. It's a program that strengthens your spatial awareness. Google that. Let me take a photo of that. I like that. Anything that might help like that, I think, is always useful. I'm always up. I'm never, stubborn and think, no, I can handle it. I'm always up for help or advice or anything that'll help me, because at the end of the day, if it's something that's going to help me, I'd be daft to turn my nose up at it. So just took a quick photo of that. That's interesting. That'll give me some homework for the weekend. Okay, so we have bounce right off here, so that would make sense. So if we can get a 2 legs down, and maybe at least now we seem to have got a direction of travel upwards at the moment. I found my new Garmin watch. Helps loads. Interesting. Tracks my sleep score. Has helped me keep good sleep habits. I feel much healthier. Do you know what? It's funny you say that. My sleep habits are awful. You know why? Because I don't have to go out to work, because I'm here all day. Sometimes if I get up, a lot of times I'll get up at night at 2 o'clock in the morning and can't sleep, and I'll go downstairs and watch Mac's video. So my sleep is a bit sporadic. So I have been looking into the Apple Watch Ultra. Just to try and, you go to bed at 9 AM, wake up at 4:30. Yeah. The trouble is, to be able to function correctly, sleep... Absolutely, yeah, I was going to say, to be able to function correctly, sleep is really important. I think I need to get myself into some better habits. I'm terrible. Lost my pay. Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I can't wake up without checking Facebook or my emails or stuff like that. My phone stays by my bed. I'm terrible for just waking up and getting straight on my phone. I do it all the time, but because I don't go out to work, I work from home. There's no worries about not having to get up. Still more downward movement to come. You think so? Well, the way that's broke, you may be right. It's the break of a short-term uptrend. Yeah, see if we can get 2 legs. Yeah, I did wonder. In fact, I was just browsing on the NQ just to see if there was some kind of a. Well, actually, it's. Look at that. Can you deny that? Touch. I don't like the fact that it's missed all this, so we've still got to keep an eye on that. But yeah, you may be right there. $50.91, yeah. Let's see if we can. I mean, that's a nice fitting channel. So if we can get 2 legs and maybe a higher low. I don't know what you're saying there, Chad. I have BNE of the short-term trend up. Oh, okay. You've got a break. You're about here. Yeah. I think that's what you mean, isn't it? We've got to get 2 legs, unfortunately. So what I will say is, regardless of whether that is a channel, we've pushed above it at the moment. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I thought it might be right. We've got a touch, a touch, and a touch, and a touch. But I don't like the way it's missing all this, so I'm a bit dubious about that. So if we do get a nice setup, then I wouldn't mind going long. But I mean, look how far we're up already. Break new extreme, got you, yeah. Wasn't much of a break, yeah. You're on about something like this, yeah. It's hard to say whether that is, isn't it? It's that tight. It's hard to trade any of that, and it's hard to mark it up properly. And I got that higher low right after the second entry around 14.25. Higher low. That one there. Yeah, see, that would be a little bit far from the MA from me, but you may have trapped a few shorts there. Yeah. I tend to get a bit careful with those, depending on how close they are, because you just never know what's going to happen there. What's your thoughts? I wouldn't have taken that one, bud. It did work. One, it's a doji, so, and not only that, it's a sort of very neutral, so you don't know. We are in this channel, but we've been right at the top there, and we're coming away. You notice we've got a bit of a gap there, and what happens? We're getting a break, so that may be a little break. So I wouldn't do that. I'd want something like that sat right on top of that bar. So I think trades like that are risky, personally. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but a trade like that would be risky. I'd want that hugging the top of that before I thought about going long. What I've found over the last few years of taking trades, the closer they are to that EMA, like that, hugging and trigger any, but hugging the underside like that. I mean, that to trade a short, if I got 2 legs up like that, those just don't fail. And that actually sort of came down quick. It's just a lovely position. We pushed above it and we dropped, and But personally, I would hold on those. But it's filtering stuff like that out. You just get better and better at. But I love taking them like that. I get filled with confidence if I see a setup that looks like that, or vice versa going up. So we've had that break. Whether that was or not, it's negligible, I think. It's just a little nick, but we've had a break and a new extreme there. But the trouble is, No setup again, just straight down and straight up. But we have come off the bottom, so maybe we get a leg push up and another leg. It's hard to say. Yeah, you'll get used to filtering stuff like that out, really, and wait for those good setups. The trouble is, if you take like that and you lose it for, say, I don't know, 2.5 points, you've now got to make at least one trade just to get back to. So, you know, you've really got to try and resist stuff like that because it's nothing really. I think the only slight thing going for it is, you know, you may have trapped a few shorts because when we got above it, we did have a little bit of a push. So the risk was 1.5 points. Yeah. But, you know, some people may take that. I don't know. But the bit that concerned me is the tops here. Those bars are touched nice and tight on this. And what happens? We come away, don't we? We go up a bit and like this. So for me, we're losing momentum. But we did have another push up. I was expecting a break there, but we did have a break in the end. I took, because it closed green, not short. Yeah, there is a possibility on your chart it might look slightly better. And that does happen from time to time. I've not taken a trade and I've looked at Marco's and he's got a really nice setup. So sometimes they do. But as I see it on my chart, I wouldn't have taken that personally because it could come down a bit further and then push up and close. That's the failure you took. Yeah, it's not a failure on my chart. Hotel at 1. Yeah, I don't like it, to be fair, because it's not close enough to that. The EMA for me, it's a bit, yeah, it just, you know, I can tend to look at a trade now and I either like it or I don't, and that one just didn't even enter my head. You just never know, and sometimes if it is, yeah, it is. There's your first entry, and there's your second entry, failure. I mean, the only thing going for it is there may have been some shorts, but the trouble is, the shorts are more likely going to be there, really. But that's failed second entry short. Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's your first entry. There's your failure. But it's, I don't like the bar, and I don't like where it is. So what are we doing here? So I'd like this to come down a bit further. And then maybe something like that. Yeah. Also, for one, charts can be slightly different, and two, everyone has got a slightly different idea of risk. We've all got different levels of risk. So, you know, let's say let's have an example of a 70% trade win rate. I tend to go for the ones that I think are high probability trades, and I would suggest 90% and hopefully a little bit more. But if you go for a 70% trade and you're going for 2 points, you're going to make money. But it does mean maybe losing a few more trades. And if you're okay with losing trades, that's what I mean. Everyone's got that little different level of risk. Some people it doesn't bother. Some people will just play the numbers game. They'll take the losses, but overall they'll be up. So we could, you know, Mac marks a lot of slightly more aggressive trades. Strangely enough, none of them ever lose. But, you know, as long as you don't mind taking those, if you're more slightly risk averse, but you know over time you'll make money, then that'll work. That works for some people. But I just don't like taking losses. I'm still in that level at the moment, so I'd rather hold on for those setups that sort of jump out at me. That one didn't really, because it's hard to read this. You don't know. I mean, somebody mentioned a minute ago we may not have finished with the down stuff, so there's always a possibility that we can have a couple of little pushes, and you just don't know. So I tend to try and take those trades. Sometimes I get trapped into them out of a little bit of, you know, losing patience. You know, we all sort of make mistakes, but I think you eventually get better at filtering the possibilities out. I risk 5 points. Yeah, so that's what I mean. We've all got, a lot of us have got different strategies. So taking a trade here might not be an issue for you, but if I was going to take that, my stop with my strategy would be one tick below there, which is kind of a bit vulnerable because if you look at that, there is a little bit of congestion there. Just a little bit, which just makes it a little bit more risky. You can see there's 3 touches there, and we got a touch there, a touch there, a touch there. So you don't know when it's going to trigger you. Come down, touch here, where that has, and what you've done, you've made this channel bigger before this. So there's always that possibility. But there is just a little bit of caution there for me. I haven't looked at my stats in a long time, but if you look at Apex, failed or not, my win rate has been 51%. See, if you're going for, like, if you're risking 1 to take 2, then that's perfectly acceptable. So sometimes these stats, you know, if you've got a stats that say you've got a win rate is 90%, it sounds impressive, but if you're risking 2 to make 1 or you're risking 3 to make 1, you know, you'd have to have something like that. Include your failed PAs as well. Yeah, see, what I tended to do whenever I've failed, and I probably shouldn't, I've deleted everything in me, because I use TraderSync, I've deleted everything in me TraderSync and started again, but I probably shouldn't really. Because, yeah, ultimately, I don't know what... But the thing is, when you do something stupid in your revenge trade, you might lose 4 or 5 in a row. You don't want that going against you, do you? So, the first now, I am 63% win rate, $900 profit on my... from the 1st of January, yeah? The thing is there, buds, you go for 1-to-1. You're aiming in the right direction. That's the important thing. As long as you've got an equity curve that slowly goes up, that'll improve with time. You might, you know, risk a bit more, or as your account grows, and your profit will go up. You take 1-to-1, 63%. Yeah, so straight away you're profitable, aren't you? One contract, 9% of the time. Yeah. 25,000 a year. So that's about right, isn't it? So in where are we, in 2 months, you know, so that's like, say, $500 a month for argument's sake. So if you had 10 accounts, that would be $5,000 a month. If you had 20 accounts, that would be $10,000 a month. As that account grows, you can extend it. So you're probably doing it the right way. I think a lot of people just jump in and risk too much. I'm guilty of that myself. I've done it. Just risk too much. But the fact that you've managed to hold it for 2 months speaks volumes about you already. So I'd say you probably in the top small percentage of people that are probably doing it the right way. 2 hours a day after work, yeah. Yeah, ideally that's the best way to do it, because you build confidence as you trade. Because if you're taking risks, it doesn't say anything about your skill. It's purely gambling. You could win or you could lose. But if you can hold money at the moment really is irrelevant to a degree. It's showing that you're consistent. The money will come in time. I bet 1-to-1 risk to reward helps learning to set the losses. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. There's so many different ways of doing it. We all look at things slightly different. So it's very hard to sort of, you know, how do you do it? This is compared to how it's nice to know how other people do things, but it's hard to sort of make a judgment on what someone says, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because we all do something slightly different. But ultimately, I mean, Kev, you sound like you're doing it the right way. You're not thinking about making money. You're thinking about learning your skill and building an account. And that speaks volumes, because you'll find most of us can't. And that includes me. You know, I can build it to a certain degree and then something tends to change a little bit. But it's getting consistency. It's all about consistency. The money will come in time, because as you get better of it and your account grows, so then so does then your profit. I make between 5 and 40 scalps per day. Yeah, see, same again. there's so many different ways to take money from the market. Well, hopefully take money. And like I say, some people take 1 or 2 trades a week. Some people take 1 or 2 trades a day. Some people take 10 or 20 trades a day. Did the London Exchange close? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so there is a possible hidden second entry long there. Now, do I want to take that or do I want to wait for a higher low? I'm going to wait for a higher low because let me have a look what's happening on the others. It's a hidden second entry long. You could count that, but I'm going to wait for a higher low. Mind you, what I will say on the 10,000 tick chart, we have triggered a bearish bar there. And that looks like it's pushing up, so that might not be a terrible trade. But at the moment, the NQ is not filling me full of confidence at the moment. And that bar's just got to 14 ticks, so I'm staying out of this at the moment. I don't like what this is doing, so I'll sit and wait for a higher low. What is it now? 14 ticks, yeah. Okay, higher low will make us feel a bit better. Excuse me, just for a second. Okay, I'm not sure about this NQ. Is this trying to push down some more? I'm not massively convinced, but it does kind of fit. Is this just bouncing and it's going to push up? Or is this a break? And we are going up. Don't like this, it's a bit congested. So maybe we have 2 legs. And then we push up. While it's uncertain here, this could go up or down for me, so I don't really want to get into a setup just yet. So, see, I mean, really, we could just say we've had a break and a new high. That's probably a better option just at the moment. And if we do continue on up, then maybe I adjust that. So it's probably safer to assume we've had a break and a new high. We've had a little double top there, so there is a possibility that this could come down. The NQ is, well, at the moment, it's trying to push down. And on the 10,000 tick chart, we've had this channel down with a bit of an overshoot. So we've triggered that bearish bar, second entry short. So I don't know at the moment. It's just a bit unclear what's going on. There is a possible higher low there.
Order submitted.
I don't mind. But let's have a look. Let me just see what the NQ is doing. What to do? I'm not sure about this.
Order submitted.
Okay. It is a higher low. Let's put that like that. We've had a break. Bullish bar, a higher low. I think that's worth the risk. We've come off this bottom. There's probably going to be some stops there. You're also in, are you? Yeah. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. What's the risk on here? 325. And we've come off the bottom anyway, so I'd expect it to push up. It is a higher low. Facts. I would be more inclined to put that below there, but I'm not going to. We'll see. The highs, yeah. We'll have to see. I'm actually going to put it there, take a few more ticks, because that's quite a strong bar. Often if it does come down, bars like that are intact. It is a bit more risk, but I think it's worth it. There's probably going to be some stops there, so if we can get up, I think we're okay. If it does have a bit of a pullback, I think personally, I like my odds below there better. It does mean it's a 4-point risk total, but I'm okay with that. The way that's whole there might mean we may go a bit sideways, which is why I've decided to put my there. Because I fancy me chances on that strong bar. I think my stop will have more. If it does come back, I think my stop will have more chance of holding there than there. Just going to go for 2 points. hopefully that might trap some shorts. We'll see. Sometimes it does fanny around a bit. I usually do. It's just how it felt there. It was an extra tick, and
Target filled.
there we go. I thought it'd work. I don't mind that, the way it was ticking back. But yeah, usually I'll hold it there, but it moved quite quick. So it was an extra tick. Make sure everything's closed. It is brilliant. So that was, what did I get there? 2.25 points. I thought if it broke there, it'd give me that extra tick. So, so it was a higher low. Second entry long. Second entry long stroke higher low. Yeah, I think that was okay there. I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? We've come off the bottom and it is a higher low. There's going to be some shorts up here, I don't doubt. Sometimes you just got to go for it, haven't you? I did a Manara about it, but it held and it slowly ground up. So it's plus 2.5 points, plus 2.25 points. I expect it to go. I kind of like that, the way we've pushed there. We got a touch, and a touch. Usually when you do that, we'll go into a wider channel. Good one, nice to yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I missed a tick there, I think. Let me have a look. Yeah, so I would have got in there. So yeah, normally I like to get in there actually. but it had already moved, so I chased it a little bit. So basically, it was an extra tip, but I had an inkling. I mean, it clearly, was pushing up, especially when it had that bearish bar, and that seemed to hold. So sometimes I get in right on the nail, but I had to chase that a little bit. It did come down, but you just don't know at the time. Sometimes when you get good setups and every man and his dog jumps on them, and they tend to go off without you. So sometimes if I think it's a good enough setup, I don't mind chasing it a little bit. So it did. Nice trade. Oh, did you really? Yeah. The thing is, sometimes you've got to, ain't you? I'm done for the week. See you Monday. Yeah, you take it easy, bud. Take it easy, bud. It's clearly pushing up some more. Doesn't match my trading style also. Oh. So we'd had this big drop, hadn't we? And then a break and a couple of bounces off here, and we did pull up. And as soon as we hit here, we had a strong push up again. And we had that strong move. But it did look for a minute like it was going to go sideways. Sometimes it just does, take time to move, doesn't it? Unfortunate thing is, the longer it takes, we've got to sit in it and put up with all the, for Pats for sure, yeah. A few trades per day, or I can't get really difficult mentally, yeah. To be honest with you, I'm more than happy with one trade a day. If I could guarantee myself one trade a day, I wouldn't want any more. I wouldn't want to. If you said to me, I guarantee one trade a day, or you can go for more, I'd snap your hand off one trade a day. So what we got on these accounts? So 2, 4, 6, 7. It's about $750 up. But that's with 5, and I'm only trading 2 on one contract. If I'd have traded them on 2 contracts, I'd have been up $1,060 now. So even with 5 accounts. But once you can get confident with losing, I don't have a problem with risking 2 contracts, because in all honesty, in most cases, you'd have to lose about, with a $2,500 drawdown, in most cases, you'd have to lose 8 trades in a row. Well, you're not going to lose 8 trades in a row. You can close your eyes and toss a coin. You're never going to lose 8 times in a row. So, but the problem is, once you start losing trades, if it affects you, that's when you start taking stupid trades, and they can mount up. But if you can hold your nerve and see what I'm going to do is, my plan is to do what the Alpine trader does. He gets it to over $2,600 and he takes a $2,000 payment. That account is paid for itself 11 times over if you count an evaluation fee and $140. It's paid for it 11x. So if that account gets blown, it really doesn't matter. So what he does is reduces it to one contract and sort of copy trades it, lets that run, and if it builds up, great. But regardless of whether he has or not, he's got $2,000 then to buy maybe 2 or 3, and that's what he continues to do. And if, he does say a lot of the times he does build accounts back up, and if you build them up, you're trading with free money. And if I can get to the stage where I can start taking regular money, I've got no issues with trading 2 contracts. Because as I say, if you're trading properly, you've got enough skills and you're trading properly and the mental stuff isn't getting to you, you're not going to lose 8 trades in a row, So that's my plan, just to sort of slowly, just build the accounts. Once I get them over $2,600, I'll take a $2,000 payment. I'll reduce it right down to one contract, and then just let it sort of move along with the rest. So what time is it? How long have I been going? What time is it? Okay, so I'm probably going to knock it on the head there, to be honest with you. I got one nice trade I'm more than happy with. It was a nice setup. We sort of, in fact, it was a second entry long. It was also a higher low. It confirmed that channel. So I think that's a nice trade. If Matt was trading tomorrow, he'd mark that. I'm pretty sure there's some others will see that as well. It is Evolution. I saw him trade many times in a day. Now he trades 1 per day trade on a different path leading to the top. Yeah, I think you change and develop as you move on, don't you? But you know, at the moment, the reason I'm separating mine a little bit, I'm doing some lower contracts just to take that pressure off you, because the mental side of it is an issue for me at the moment, although it's getting better. And as I start to take some payments, you start to get a bit of belief in yourself, and you know, you tip that balance in your favour, then the losses don't mean so much, as long as you're sitting patiently and only taking what you believe to be good setups. And you know, once an account's paid for itself, I'll put it back to one contract until it gets to maybe sort of $2,600, and then I'll probably go to 2 contracts and let that one ride up. And if I can get it up to 5, that should then hopefully give me a regular payment every month. So, you know, fingers crossed. I don't like to say too much and jinx myself. All I'm trying to do is focus on finding just good setups and nothing more. You know, nothing more, nothing less. But in all honesty, I think that was okay. It's a high or low. Pretty sure Mac had marked that. It does confirm that trend. And obviously pushed up and worked. So I'm going to knock it on the head today. So nice green day for the weekend. It's always nice to get green the weekend. At the beginning of the week, I traded 88 times. Today 11. I'm coming down. I don't know if I had the nerve. Well, it depends on your. There's so many different strategies, isn't there? Someone told me once, all strategies work. It's the person that's the problem, not the strategy. So, I don't know. Perhaps if you're trading more, you get used to that feeling a bit. But sometimes sitting through one, I considered bringing mine down there a little bit, but I thought, no, leave it where it is. That's where you've set it. The setup looks good. Have the confidence to do it. But that's the trouble, is when it comes back sometimes, you know, you have those second thoughts. And that took a little bit of time. You know, they usually move a bit quicker. But if you look at the day, it's not a lot of volume, really. We go up, we come down. It's hard to trade this, I think. You could probably taken that one. And that one I don't think was a bad setup. We pushed down, a little bit of sideways, fell breakout, fitted nice there. I wasn't sure why I didn't consider that one. I think I was probably messing around at the time with, is this sideways or down? And I think I was more focused on it being sideways, and this may be the bottom. But, you know, your skills will improve, but this is not the easiest day to trade when it's like this, is it? Because it is choppy and sideways, but it's also slightly down, but then the angle changes and it changes again. So I'm more than happy with my one. It's given me a quick $750 over my account, so I'm happy with that. So I'll leave it there. I won't bore you anymore. So just keep this in mind now. The 90% off finishes at midnight on Sunday. So make sure you get them in before midnight if you do. My code's down there if you want to use it. If you have, it is appreciated. But it finishes midnight on but the last day for the one day is today. So if you don't pass it by today, I wouldn't go all out balls in and try and go crackers, because better to keep it at 90% than you know, lose it. Something I've done. I only mention it because it's something I've done myself. But I'll leave it with you. So that finishes on Sunday. So look, that's it for me today. I appreciate all the comments. Have a great weekend. If you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope you get another setup. You may do if we can get a couple of legs down, but failing that, I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll chat and do it all once again on Monday. So bye for now. You too, what's up? I'll speak to you guys Monday.